So you've heard the old saying, history repeats itself. Maybe it doesn't necessarily repeat itself, at least not verbatim, but there are some similar themes, to say the least. Spoke to an audience yesterday in Illinois, and I looked out over that room and realized there's a lot of people that are in their 40s or younger. And if you work in agriculture and you're 40 or younger, you've generally, your entire working career, things have been good. We went through the terrible 80s and 90s, and then things started getting good early 2000s. And a lot of that was due to the China miracle, increased consumption, global expansion of the economy, population growth, etc. And I pointed out how all those things are changing. And then I also did some historical comparatives. 1983, completely oversupplied. We invented the PIC program, payment in kind. You can look that up, where we paid farmers with corn to not plant corn. We did that for 2 years. The dairy termination program, we paid dairy farmers and had them sign contracts. If they exited the dairy business, slaughtered their cows, that would therefore decrease the supply of milk. Because we had so much milk, the government had been buying milk for years and turning it into cheese. Not just any cheese, really shitty, bad tasting cheese. And they gave that away through all the school lunch programs, all the welfare programs, etc. Why am I talking about the PIC program and the dairy termination and government cheese? Because those were answers to try and get rid of supply. We went from there on to the CRP program, which invented a program, 26 million to 29 million acres right now, where we pay farmland owners to take that land out of production and put it into conservation practices, thereby bringing down the supply. All these attempts to take care of supply. Ethanol, an attempt to literally burn through our oversupply of corn. 40% of our corn crop goes to ethanol. So I was explaining all this history of burning up supply, and the people that were 35 years old just looked at me. I said, this is all new to you, isn't it? Yes, it is. Why? Because we in agriculture have been so focused on what the last 20 years has looked like, ram it up, boost up production. Global demand is going to continue to increase, population, new economy, China's expansion. And they've never actually thought about a world where demand declines. And that's where we were, or where we're completely oversupplied, which is where we were in the 1980s. And I believe that we are absolutely there again. History may not exactly repeat itself verbatim, but it does sing a similar tune. So we are oversupplied. This is not going to go away. The only thing that would change would be regulation, forcing us to go completely organic, which isn't going to happen the world over, even if it happens in Europe or was to be forced upon us here in the United States, meaning the rest of the world players are going to still overproduce. So I think we got a lot of similar tunes here in the 1980s. Big supply, stagnating demand, global strife. How do you fix that? Of course, with trade disputes, and then, of course, interest rates and inflation that are on the increase from where they have been for the last decade or so. Damian Mason coming at you. History doesn't repeat itself necessarily, not verbatim anyway, but it sure as hell sings a similar tune. Damian Mason from the desert, walking my doggies, the business of agriculture.